In that moment, he knew nothing could stop him. Ever. Ever again. That is a feeling that is worth everything that you're doing. You owe it to yourself to experience it in your business. So here's a story, and it's true, the story's true, but it's one of those key moments where, you're just kind of doing your life and having some fun, and you're in the right place at the right time, and it's like the heavens opened up, and you just got dumped on with extreme wisdom. You ever had one of those moments? Where you just, it keeps your head spinning for hours and weeks and days, and you can't digest the content because it's too rich. Well, I had an opportunity to have that moment. And it was back a number of years ago already, and we had this big dream of actually doing some travel. So we bought this RV, and we let the house kind of go in, let the tenants take care of the house, and we jumped in the RV and drove all the way down, to the States, and we went to a nice warm place called Houston, Texas in December. And so we left the snow behind, and we stayed in an RV park. And it wasn't an RV park, it was an RV resort, and apparently there's a difference. New to RV, and I didn't understand that. But we get there, and this place is like deluxe. I mean, I've got the cheapest rig in the entire place. There's $300,000, $500,000 buses. Singers are coming there, and they're staying. Really quite unique. And so I felt out of my element, really coming, that way. We had our kids with us, homeschooling. And the story I want to tell you about is Bernie and Donelda. Now, Bernie and Donelda were from Canada. Oh, how wonderful to meet somebody who actually had the A down right. Because when you meet somebody in Texas, y'all, you gotta learn to talk a little slower. And of course we're like, come on already, get it out before it dies, right? And so when we met somebody from Canada, and I knew they were from Canada because they had that look, like weather burned and, snow, and they understood weather, and they're walking outside on a cold day and everybody else is bundled up, and it's like, well, it'd be about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're walking out with t-shirts and thinking it's cool, but not cold, right? And so I met them, and we got to know them. And we had one night where we were kind of all sitting in the hot tub. This is where the story starts. Bernie and Donelda came from Canada. They were in Calgary. Calgary is a beautiful town. If you've never been to Calgary, they are like Westerners as they come. They wear cowboy hats. Everybody's got a pair, and everybody's got a pair of boots. And they wear them, really. Okay, even executives wear them. And so I met Bernie, and he was in the oil industry, in the sense that he was fixing things. And he had a company that did that. But here's Bernie, and he's probably 20 years my senior. And he was a very fit man. He looked exceptionally good for a man that probably was ready to retire. And Donelda was bubbly and energetic. And, so you get bubbly and energetic, Donelda, she was from the wedding industry. She took care of wedding planning. She had just retired. Bernie's there, and he's stoic, and he's got that wry sense of humor, the kind that every now and then he'd say something, he'd shock you. Okay, so I've got them, we're in there, and so it starts off with, how did you guys, come? And they're telling a story, we're telling a story, and all of a sudden there was something that was said. That moment when something's said, and you just kind of go, what happened? Something happened, I didn't catch it, but it was between the two of them. Husband and wife stuff, right? And it was about a comment, and so my ears perked up, and I looked, and I said, what? So what else are you supposed to do? And you say, what? And that's where it started. Bernie started to talk a little bit, and he said, yeah, well, it wasn't as bad as it sounds. And Donelda goes, no, it was worse than you sound. It was crazy that you did that. And here's the story. Bernie, when he was 50, decided he had something to prove to himself. He had been in the corporate world. He had been working as a mechanic. He was working hard in his day-to-day job. He had his business going. It was all going good. But he hit a point in his life where he wanted to know what he was made of. How many people had that here when they started their business? Right? You can identify with that? You're starting up. He wanted to know what he was made of. Because when you're in an environment, you're just kind of going with the flow. And it seemed like he was getting numb. I'm making this up because Bernie didn't have a lot of words about it. Actually, it was Donelda that did all the talking. And she kind of pried it out of him every now and then. So it was awesome. We got to know him a lot better. And he did actually talk eventually. So we twisted his arm. But, he had made a decision. One of those decisions you make that you don't really think about before you put both feet in your mouth. And as a man, a real man, you stick to your decision. So guess what the decision was? Think about it. You got two guys in a hot tub. No, Bernie looked pretty good in the hot tub. He wasn't wearing a Speedo. No piercings anywhere. Cool. Tattoo. He's cool and chill. I'm there. I'm looking sleek and trim because now I've gained a few extra pounds from all this Canadian living. And our ladies are there, and we're having this talk. Bernie decided to ride his bike from Calgary, 1,100 kilometers, to the coast. So I said, what's the big deal? And Donelda said to me, yeah, it's the Rockies. Donelda said to me, not motorcycle. Bicycle? Are you out of your mind? Have you seen the mountains? Right? And so that's where he was going. He made his decision. He had a vision of what he wanted to accomplish. And you know what the vision was? He saw himself taking the bike, riding straight into the ocean, and then literally throwing it as he jumped into the water. That was his vision. Now here's a man that hasn't jumped on a bike since he was 5. So they say you remember. Just saying. Do you know what I mean? And he started this process of going through it. And there's so many life lessons. I'm going to give you a few of them today. Hope you can grab a hold of them and see what you can bring in for yourself in your own personal business. Because think about it. Here you got a guy. He goes and gets a bike. How does he get a bike? He didn't go out and get the Lance Armstrong's Custom Deluxe $2,000 bike. He went to the local neighbor's garage. I think it was shed, actually. Dragged out a 10-speed. Now, if you've never seen a 10-speed, it's kind of like a racing bike, very thin tires, no shocks, and this seat that looks like it's made for wedgies only. Right? Like it's going to hurt sitting on it the first time, and then every minute thereafter. And by 5 minutes later, things that you don't want going numb are going to go numb. I guarantee it. 10-speed, right? So that's how he started. Now he got this 10-speed going and he said, I'm going to make it. And he set himself a plan, right? How many people set up a plan to go and get in their business? Even if it was just, I think I'm going to do that. That's what Bernie started with. The big plan. I'm going to start something. Ta-da! I am going to ride to the ocean. Now he had a couple naysayers. Can you imagine? Can you imagine explaining that to your spouse? Hey, I'm going to do something completely erratic that nobody else in the world would ever attempt and brag about it. And that's where Bernie started. So yeah, I had a few people that were like, Dad, are you okay? You can buy a car. It can be a convertible if you want, if you're having your midlife crisis. Really, Dad? They were having conversations around it. But he got himself set up and he decided, I'm going to do it. So he goes and he buys saddlebags for the bike. Buys the saddlebags. He stuffs them with everything he needs to estimate the amount of weight that it's going to take. He turns around, he got spandex. No, he didn't get spandex. Bernie doesn't get spandex. Bernie got, blue jean cutoffs. Because that's what Bernie would wear, right? And a t-shirt that, looked like a man's t-shirt because he's a man, right? That's Bernie. And he jumps on this bike. So the first day he goes out, he gets into this mode of, I'm going to do it. You ever had that feeling? I'm going to do it today. I'm going to find a client. You work up so much sweat by the time you get to the first stretch. He's just jumping on the bike. He's not even, he's just getting the sweat going. He made it 1 hour of driving and died. Flop. Nothing dramatic. Nobody around. His wife was following him, so she picked him up in the car. Right? He made an hour, which is an hour more than he ever made in his entire life. Make sense? Now, he wasn't even up to the part, that was level ground, because it's about an hour drive at 60 or 100 kilometers an hour just to get to the foothills where it starts to slowly go up. And he hadn't even gotten to the part where it started to increase yet. So this is just flat driving on pavement. So not so good. So he decided that's not good enough. So his next time out, next week, he decides he's going to go at it again. This time, he says, Donelda, you're not following me. I'm going to go on my own. And she says, okay, do what you need to, but take your cell phone just in case. Right? And so, how far did he go? Jumped on his bike, he's sweating, he's grunting, he's going at it, he's enjoying the ride, and then the pain starts kicking in, The legs just get rubbery, and he starts to fall, and he just kind of falls over. He made it an hour. Ever had that feeling? Right? Where you've done your best, and your best is not even close to what you wanted to accomplish? Well, that's where Bernie was at. Bernie was staring his dream in the face, realizing that there's no possible way you're going to make 1,100 kilometers through mountains when you can't make it an hour on flat land. You can't push your bike that far, right? It doesn't make logical sense. And if you're talking to somebody that's in the moment of telling you you're out of your mind, no, you probably are. And own it, because it's yours. It's your mind. You can be out of it whenever you want to. Okay? And you have to be out of your mind at times to do the impossible. Because if you're going to do what convention tells us, that means look back at what you didn't accomplish and try and scale that forward a little bit farther. And you will still never hit your dream, and mediocrity will be your place in life. Well, Bernie decided he better do something different. We've all done that one, right? I better do something different. So he did. He phoned up a buddy, said, I need a buddy. I need a buddy to ride with me. I need somebody to encourage me along the way. You ever had one of those? So off he goes. Two of them take off the next morning. They're pedaling like crazy. It's going well until the legs said, this is not what we want to do anymore. And he slowed down and fell over. He made it another hour. And he did phone. Danelda did come and pick him up. And she didn't say a single word all the way home. Because she knew if she said, I told you so, that would be the end of lots of things. And he would never stop until he accomplished it. And she did want to see him again. So, right? She was probably more concerned for his health. Now, at that moment in time, how many people here would have quit? Like, this is kind of crazy. I was really not in my mind at that moment in time. And there's going to come a crossroad. There's going to be a defining moment in your success cycle where you're going to have to decide what you're made of. Where you're going to have to take a look at all the things that you know about yourself and say, I'm not putting up with it anymore. I will succeed. So Bernie had to make that choice. He didn't say anything about this while we were in the move of, going through that in the hot tub. Danelda put in a little chirp here and there. But what really happened in that moment, and you could see it was highly emotional for him, was he made a decision to be a better man and be a better person. And he was going to stick with what he decided to do no matter what it took. Now, that's tough. And if you're in business, there's going to be those moments when you're going to want to quit. There's going to be those moments, and it'll be easy to quit. And there will be people that'll be on your side to quit. Oh, it's okay. It's the economy. This would never happen. It's something's change your operation. And my cat's got a hysterectomy. And you're gonna have all kinds of things being said to you to give you an excuse to quit. Good-meaning friends and family, they're just gonna chirp in and give you all kinds of excuses. All you have to do is just let them land. And you can take anyone you want. You can have a whole bouquet of kind of excuses. And you get to choose that, or you get to choose what you went to set your heart on. And in 1 second, you can make a decision that'll take and make a definitive direction for you. Left, right, or straight forward. So you got to know the temptation's going to come. You will want to quit. How many times have you wanted to quit? I wanted to quit last week. I wanted to quit 3 times today getting ready for this talk. So they told me we had 2.5 hours. I got here and they said, Rich, we got a half an hour. What? Right? No, it's just the way it goes, right? You see, you do your best work when you're under pressure and you don't even know what you can accomplish. And you need to know that, and you need to take that to the bank, because that's the thing that's going to make you successful. See, Bernie decided he couldn't live with himself anymore if he didn't give it all he had. Bernie decided that if he quit now, he would always wonder. Know that feeling? Got a dream inside? If you got a dream inside, it's like a baby. You can't let it go on its own until you nurture it to health and nurture it till it grows. If you've got that dream and you're sitting in this room, that's what it's about. Don't give it up. Let me tell you what Bernie did. It's inspiring, actually. Excuse me. At a heart level. Bernie got up one morning and said, I am going. He said, I've got 10 or 12 days to get to my destination. That's about roughly how long it is going to be. He said, I am going to leave. Denelda, you will not answer your phone. I'm not taking the phone. I will not talk to you until I talk to you at the coast when I'm in the water. You will drive to the coast. You will meet me at the coast. And if I die along the way, you know what? Say bye to the kids for me. I will make it there, and there's no way out. And so he got up 12 days before. He booked the time off, and he only had 2 weeks off. He booked the time off, and he decided, and he went for it. Now, what happened? First lesson. Bernie takes off. He's got all his bags packed. He's got about 60 pounds worth of stuff on there, and he starts going. It's a nice summer day. It's getting hot. He's starting to peel off clothes. He makes it to the 1 hour mark. His legs are burning, and he looks at the 3 places where he's already fallen over, and he can see the scuff marks on the pavement already. Do you know what I mean? He can say, well, that's where my head hit, and that's where my foot went down, and it skidded out from underneath me, and the bike went sideways. And that's where Danelda picked me up and screeched because she almost hit me with the car. Right? That's the tree I was sitting behind because, you get it? And he watched it in the rear view mirror. And he suddenly realized that he was overweight. Not him, but the bike. And so he started to peel off things and throw them off to the side. Because now he's doing whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. I don't need all this stuff. And he starts piling it off and throwing it off to the side. Things are flying all over the place. The bags are empty, then the bags go off to the side. You see, there's times when we leave for our destination and we bring our baggage with us. All our past baggage. And one of the key lessons that he taught me that day was, you don't need your baggage. You don't need all that junk. You don't need all that crap because it's slowing you down. And that's the lesson that he learned in that moment. So now he's pedaling. He's got a water bottle. He's got some food rations. He's got his wallet. He's got a knife. So when you're hungry enough, you'll chase something and kill it. Need I say more? Okay? He's down to the bare essentials of what it's going to take him. And what he found out really quickly was when the burn in his leg was kicking in, when he got that first initial shock pain of my legs are burning, I think I'm going to fall over, and he did. What he found out an hour later was, he creeped and crept and kept it moving. He just wanted to keep it moving. That was the goal. He did, and he found out the burn disappeared. He had pushed through the pain, and his body accepted the new motion. Think about that. In our businesses, don't we push through the pain sometimes? How many people have had pain? What kind of pain? We're talking about that kind of pain where, oh my goodness, I can't talk to people. Oh my goodness, I've got to do an infomercial. Oh my goodness, somebody didn't want to pay me. Anybody got accounts receivable? Say yes. Yes. Right. Pain. Those are opportunities for us to grow. And he pushed through the pain. His body accepted it, and he moved forward. How exciting is that? One of the other lessons that he talked about was that in this course, when you're starting to go through the mountains, I said, how in the world do you ride a 10 speed through the mountains? How do you chug your way up those hills? Because I've seen those. I've got an RV that can barely make 30 kilometers an hour going up those hills. I actually blew a transmission on one of our motorhomes at the top of the peak. It actually just melted down. Right? We coasted into the next town. And as I got out, it exploded underneath the car. I know what it takes for a machine to make it up that. I've seen trucks going 15, 20 kilometers an hour. How in the world does a 60, 50-year-old guy with no legs make it up the hill? I didn't actually say it like that, but I think he got the message. And you know what he said to me? He said, I made a game of it. He said, the trucks are going 15 or 20 kilometers an hour? He said, I set the goal to beat the trucks. So I would wait at the bottom of the hill for a truck to show up. And then I'd chase it up the hill and pass it. Okay, I was lost for words. I'm still in my bathing suit. I don't get it. What does that mean? How do you chase up the hill? Every day we chase up the hill, don't we? Every day we get up in the morning and sometimes you don't feel like being dynamic. You know, somebody says to me, I got my clients that come to me, Richard, you're always on, you're always up. No. Ask my wife. I have bummed out, dragged out, thrown down in the bumpers, stumpers, then I got bad attitudes, stinking thoughts, and all that kind of stuff. Just like everybody else. But I won't bring it to the call because you want the best for me. And don't your clients want the best from you? See, Bernie chose to race uphill. And I've got a friend of mine that races bike, like those ones that jump off, and they do things like in the forest and stuff. And he says the game is actually won or lost going up the hills and down the hills. Because everybody coasts down the hills to get energy. He says that's where the real pros win. When you're doing something different than everybody else, you win. When you're thinking out of the box, you win. When you get up and you just say, I'm going to put a happy face on this mug of mine, no matter what happened yesterday, and I will succeed today, you win. And that's what it takes to win. Bernie chased a truck up a hill. I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have been there. And the only thing that kept him going was solid determination about where he was going to, and he imagined people cheering him on. Your imagination's very powerful. So whatever you conceive and can believe, you achieve. So if you think you suck, you do. Ta-da! If you think you're brilliant, you get better. Right? Everything you learned in school. I just told you in like 2 seconds. If you think you're great, you are. Ta-da! Put some hard work behind that, and wow, you're going to be at the front of the round. It's going to be great. So Bernie turned around, he chased a truck up a hill. And he told me of a couple stories that I really want to give you in the next few minutes because, it really does parallel a lot of what goes on. And he's got a ton of stuff. I really love what took place in this whole environment with that whole opportunity I had. And I feel blessed to have had somebody that mentored into my life a little bit. And you know what? There's moments when you will get those nuggets from someone or you will give them to someone and you will radically change their lives. Bernie didn't say an awful lot. My imagination did a lot of that. Can you guys imagine some of this stuff? You're going to remember the story. Because when you're going to wake up one morning and your brain's going to go, boo, I feel boo. You're going to go, chase uphill! Let's go! If Bernie can do it, that's what it's going to be like. He also had an opportunity to tell me about a time he almost died. There was a point where at day 3 that he literally was getting dizzy. If you can imagine just starting to weave. He almost got knocked over by a car because he's all over the map. He couldn't focus anymore and he thought it was just the sweat coming down his face. And by this time he's ripped off the sleeves of his shirt so he could, keep cool. And he's turned around and he's cut off the legs of his pants so it could, get some cooling going on. And he actually just got off the bike and he started to wander and, kind of all over the map. And he ended up just kind of getting underneath something and sitting. And he goes, what is wrong with me? I feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm going to pass out. I don't know what's going on. And, as he's sitting there in a dazed, kind of stupor underneath the tree, he realizes that he must be feeling dehydrated. And he had forgotten to take care of himself. So while you're running your business, you know what? Take care of yourself. When you look in your calendar, do you have time for food? Do you have time in your calendar to take care of yourself emotionally? Do you have time in there to do the important things? Most entrepreneurs don't eat. I know, I coach them. And it's one of the things they go, really, Rich? You mean I got to put it in my calendar? You don't put it in the calendar, ain't going to happen. I guarantee it. You have to take care of you, the machine, or you will not succeed. How many people understand that? Say yay. Yay! Yay! How many people will really do it though? Oh, you guys are telling me the truth. I like the truth. I don't even have to call BS on that one. You know what? If you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of you? And what happens when you're standing there in the daze and you're kind of going, right? And you feel like you're going to throw up or die? And all he needed was a little bit of water and an hour's rest, and he was back on the bike. You've got to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of you, no one will do it. No one else will do it. If you're expecting somebody to catch you as you fall, not going to happen. You owe it to yourself to take care of you. You're the biggest resource your company has. And as Bernie jumps on his back on his bike, he went day after day. He's sleeping on the ground. One night he's freezing, the next night. And you get in the mountain, the temperature changes. It can be really nice and comfy at a regular level. And you get up there about 1,500 feet, things change. It gets cool at night, so you freeze. And he talked about skunks, talked about bears. He talked about almost getting run over by a car. That's a great story. He was working so hard. And, imagine this. Have you ever seen those old-fashioned car racetrack, the kids used to play with, and they got that track that's black and it's about a 1/4 inch thick and, kind of S's around and all the rest of that. Imagine blacktop like that. Coquihalla Highway, right? And, this is how it goes. You're driving and you can't see the side of the road. There's a guardrail there. That's it. And over the guardrail is nothing. For many, 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 many feet. It is 100% for sure you fall off that. They'll find you sometime, maybe. That's it. It's done. Nothing glamorous, just over. He's driving his bike, pedaling like crazy, and he had rear view mirrors on the bike so he could see when the cars were coming. And he happened to notice that there was a car coming up, an old station wagon, pulling this boiler trailer, and this guy had mirrors on it, the ones that stick out about 80 feet. Right? So he's past the legal limit because he's got these mirrors. And he looked in his rearview mirror, he saw the mirror coming, and he immediately jumped off the bike and basically hanged onto the guardrail. And that saved his life, because that would have knocked him from the back and right over the edge. There are things in your business that you have to keep your eyes aware of what is going on at all levels around you. You have to have a keen eye in front of you, around you, to the side of you, behind you, because you can get something that'll come up and go and knock you over the edge. We've all seen businesses that it happens to. Big box stores like, Blockbuster, who didn't realize that people were going to go online to get videos. And you know what? If you're an ostrich, you put your head in the ground, cool. Right? Makes you feel better. If you're a business owner and you put your head in the ground, somebody will come by and kick your butt. And you will tumble over and over and over. It's called the ostrich effect. So I hope that never happens to anybody you know. It is not fun, because now you're dazed and confused. And so at that moment, he's sitting there realizing that he just about died. So near-death experience. And I'm sure he asked himself the question, what am I thinking? I've got another 20 miles of this. Will I be able to make it? You ever had one of those moments? Now, the good part about the whole story was he continued. The bad part was that he was looking at it because he realized, the value proposition we do for ourselves. I'm already a quarter of the way into it. So if I go back, I still got to go a quarter of the way. Just as much danger on the other side. That's what he was negotiating with himself. So without your rear view mirrors, you will not know what's coming. So how do we get rear view mirrors in our business? You keep statistics. You keep track of the things that are actually important in your business. We call those a dashboard, or different benchmarks that you're trying to work with in your business. Because you know what? Have you guys figured out that whatever you do today, doesn't it generate a paycheck? Today? Right? How long does it take? Long time. The lag effect, right? I have people say to me all the time, "Rich, you got no money." I go, "I know." And they go, "What am I going to do?" Work. And I go, "What?" I go, well, what were you doing 3 months ago? Well, I took a holiday. Way to go. Congratulations. That's how it works. Nothing in, nothing out. Rearview mirrors keep you on track. Now, Bernie made it all the way to the other side of this whole, hill, 1,500 feet up through the mountains all the way up, and he's starting to go down. The downside's the easy side because you're now in flow. Flow in your business is like, whoa, this is so easy, I can't believe it. But he didn't take it for granted because there's still obstacles out there. There's still the opportunity for tires to blow up and you to fall off your game when you're not paying attention. There's still big mirrors that can come and smack you in the back of the head and knock you to the ground. And there's still dehydration if you don't take care of yourself. So even when it gets easy, don't get lazy. Easy, lazy. Remember that. Stay on course. You need to develop discipline for your business. No, that's a naughty word, right? Discipline is just really you having the fortitude to stick to what you want to accomplish in your life. So you get what you want. Cool. Right? Now at the end of the game, 11 days later, Bernie rolled through Vancouver. Bernie went through the busy seats of Vancouver. Nobody was cheering. There was no fantastic ribbon that he had to come across, and there wasn't cameras ready to shoot him. There wasn't anything. And sometimes when you're going to create the biggest success in your life, there will be nobody standing by to cheer you on. So please create that in your unconscious mind. Because you owe it to yourself to celebrate the win. And he took that bike and he rode down the pavement, got onto the sand, rode it right through the sand with his last breath. Whatever was left of that bike, he rode it right into the water. 2 boys, 1 wife, daughter-in-law, cheering him on. Payback. In that moment, he knew what he was made of. In that moment, he accomplished the dream. In that moment, he knew nothing could stop him. Ever. Ever again. That is a feeling that is worth everything that you're doing. You owe it to yourself to experience it in your business, in your life, in your time. So have you been blessed with a gift of a vision? If you've got something that keeps you up at late at night working harder, if you've got that passion that wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, I need to talk to you right now, and you're going, I really want to sleep. Okay, I'll get up. I got to write down that idea. If you have the passion that keeps you going on 3 hours of sleep and 80 pounds of coffee, if you've got the passion to listen when everybody else is telling you you're out of your mind and go, I know, and it's okay, I'm comfortable with it, right? If you've got that passion and you've got that vision, you owe it to yourself to win. You owe it to yourself to jump on your bike, ride it into the ocean, throw your hands up, and drink salt water. That's what it's all about. You know, this is a great little talk. And in a few minutes, I'm going to sit down. And you're going to have to decide what you're going to do with this information. This information has haunted me. It has chased me down, and it has made me a better human being. It has made me more committed, more powerful, and more enduring when things got tough. And I wanted to share that with you today because I think it was the best gift that's ever been given to me in a long time. So, with respect to Bernie, if you use these and you put them to use in your life, I want you to think about Bernie, a man past his prime, wrong, a man who was told it would never work, a man who was told it was crazy, a man who by all standards shouldn't have been able to go one of those 11 hours, a man who should have died on the journey, and a man who made his history happen in a brief moment when he rode his bike and he accomplished his dream and he touched water, something so simple. So my encouragement is this: write your dream down, nurture it, live with it, Let it make you the best person you can be, and share it with others. My name is Rich Grof. Thank you.